Ekonene, so jana kuna vile ilikuwa ni somehow a very slow day, so hakuna like a lot of political stuff that I found to be super interesting, but still saizi naanza kukaa KBC cause najipataga like every morning the first person that I have to talk about is the president of Kenya, and ilikuwa very interesting cause yesterday kulikuwa na hii clip ilikuwa ina go round the president that I didn't know what to think about because the president was talking about his daughter and kukatiwa na mse fulani hapo jo, so kuna raya isiyo ya kawaida ile inaitwa Ochieng. So kitu moja ile lazima niseme, kuna watu waga na heshima, unajua mse kama Daddy Owen hivi, because kuna time kulikuwa na rumor that Daddy Owen anatry kurusha maneno hapo, and sasa kuna ira nyingine pia inaitwa Ochieng, because mfindigi like not just the president's daughter but Ruto's daughter. It takes a certain level of cojones that some of us do not have. So wacha tusikize vile Ruto alikuwa na bonga J story. I found it to be funny. So wacha tusikize.
Kama msichana wangu angepata Mkenya, lakini unajua sasa ni mpango ya Mungu na ni uamuzi wake pia. Kulikuwa na wakati nilikuwa nimesikia fununu hapo, kulikuwa na jamaa sijui alikuwa anaitwa Ochieng, nilikuwa nimemuona lakini kapotea sijui kuliendaje. Ochieng tumezoea kesi zao patanisho, huwa wanapotea hivyo.
Jo, tunakuga na sifa mbaya hapa nje sisi, but I found this to be funny, and cause na try to imagine if Ochieng is a hit and run kind. Unajua kuna places you don't hit and run, you hit and stay. Wewe mwenyewe unangoja udampiwe, alafu ndio baki umerun. And that is hapo nzabaki umejua jo. Is a whole different meaning. Okay, let me not make that joke. So so kulikuwa na hiyo, then apart from that, then I ended up seeing another video, and with this video I'd want to know kama nani ata repost hii video, because this is one of those videos that will repost this video, and because what video am I talking about? Kulikuwa na hii video ya Charlene alikuwa na dance na mse fulani alikuwa na dance donjo maber, so ira imevaa kanzu, I'm guessing it's not Ochieng, so alikuwa anavaa, yani wana dance, alafu inafanya na jiuliza like considering the amount of hate that Yani would get if he reposted this video, would he repost this one? Because I'm sure he's tempted. He's like zile za all publicity is good, whether negative or positive. Then nakachini nasema nah, this publicity won't be worth it, so let me just ignore that and let it go. So yes, I highly doubt that Yani will end up posting this one. But then tukitoka kwa hizo story light, let's talk some politics. So majuzi, I think this was on Monday, kuna vile Sifuna na Onyonka walibaki wamemove out of wali walk out, that is out of should I call a Senate hearing. Yes, so the Senate hearing was against the governor of Nairobi, and yes, I remember watching the video and I didn't know what to think about it, because I feel like saa hizi history ya Sifuna versus Ruto and Sifuna versus this government, for me it's getting played out. It's more like you'll talk but you'll still stay in ODM, so let's just wait for 2027 and see what's going to happen. But right now it's not as inspiring as it used to be like a few years back, kama even maybe even last year nacheki. But wacha tucheki hii, alafu tukam tubongejua sasa Kasmuel, because Kasmuel ameingilia hii story, na wacha tucheki kunaendaje.
Saying is that we should see the evidence. I doubt anybody sitting on that side banks with CDM. I'll be very shocked.
Yeah, let's not personalize this question.
I'm just saying.
You know, I don't know what grade the senator has.
I just say.
It's not fair for the senator of Nairobi to take over the committee. Please allow us. Allow us to go through our program the way.
Maybe this is not about Elgeyo Marakwet. This is about Nairobi. When your governor is here, you will take over.
We also live here. We also live in Nairobi.
She's not from
So you are not answerable to the
She's not from Elgeyo Marakwet.
Who do you answer?
We cannot.
So kona shidwa hii story ni jua nini? Kuna hii memo iligo round Nairobi County walikuwa naambwa like right now officially for all their health needs they'll have to bank with Sidian Bank. And I remember that Sifuna ended up tweeting about this and he was asking how they can move from a bank like Cooperative Bank, which is najua this level of tier, to like a third tier like Sidian Bank. Sidian Bank, you also have to look at it from another angle, and the other angle is this is a bank that people say like the majority shareholder is the president. So you see these things where in Kenya inasemekanaga even when the president does in quotes a good thing, he always has his hand hapo, like something has to come back to his pocket. So kuna hiyo story. So Sifuna of course decided to ask Sakaja about it, and this is where it got ugly. So kuna huu senator wa Elgeyo Marakwet iko nana, alafu Sifuna na Onyonka at some point pia akasema iko nana.
We cannot allow the senator of Nairobi to divert us from our agenda. So as a committee chair, can you guide us and we finish our agenda?
Chair, I don't think anybody in this committee should be a gatekeeper for anybody.
Correct.
We are here to get the facts, and the facts will set us free.
I know for a fact Kamar doesn't bank with Sidia.
I
know you don't bank with Sidia.
I don't.
You can't put public money in places where you can't put private money.
Why are we insisting on number 5? We still have questions that have not been answered.
So nachekio place Sifuna namwambia that I know that Nani does not bank with Sidian. So this is inakuwaga very interesting banks. These are sort of banks that you hear have very few customers. You'll never find like a crowd hapo. So zinakuwaga na very few customers, and these customers inakuwaga okay, now you'll have the government, but you'll also have a lot of questionable characters there. Najua. So and of course money is a very sensitive thing. So you want to bank with a reputable reputable what? Yani, yeah, like bank inafaa kuwa design ukibank now you can go home and sleep well. And if you look at Sidian they were loss making, then as soon as sasa Ruto amekama akakuwa like a shareholder walianza ku make profit. I think the last time wali make profit ya maybe 300 million or something, na majuzi sasa inasemekana washatengeza 1.4 billion tayari kwa the first, was it the first half? Yes. Yeah. So, wacha tuendelee.
No. Wait, hold on.
Allow us to finish.
Okay. Order first. Switch off your mic first, Professor. Please, with all due respect. Professor, please switch off your. Let's have some normalities. What is the issue? The issue is we're almost done. It's the only thing I'm seeing is this business to do with the Dish County School Feeding Program.
Exactly.
That's what you're asking.
So hapo nacheki Sifuna na Onyonka walienda po wakimove out. Alafu this is where now Kasmuel comes in, because Kasmuel nezataka kujua sana like beef yake na Sifuna inakuwaga nini, because I remember the first time that I saw this was kwa post ya kenyans.co.ke. ilikuwa ni a disconcerting clip shows our Senator Sifuna given a perfect opportunity to hold Nairobi accountable in the Senate Devolution Committee walk out mid-session, egged on by the Senator of Kisii in an act so poorly choreographed it resembled absurd theater rather than oversight. This is not leadership, it's a reckless performance at the expense of a city crying out for serious governance. So I had to wonder like what's happening here, like so I decided nitaenda kucheki what Kasmuel had written, like where was this coming from, and in the process decided to now like read the whole thing. So a few people had commented on that. Kuna dem anaitwa Jill Koi alikomenta the fact that Sifuna ignores this kid makes me happy. Then Lin Ngugi akabaki amereply even a mice would ignore him. Sellout. Ikikam to history ya boy as a sellout, yo ushaicheki geniki. Me personally nakuwaga the sort of person who always asks how he sold out, because why do I ask how he sold out? He was literally chased out of the so-called Gen Z movement, and watu walikuwa wanasema ni fake and what, and you go where you're loved. So he ended up leaving, and apart from leaving, he ended up leaving to work under ama be mentored by Raila. This is a chance that a lot of people would say, I'll never take such a chance. But given the exact same chance, if you're not hypocritical or fake, you understand, you'd take it, you'd grab that opportunity. Remember him talking about flying to places na Raila. This is one of those life-changing opportunities. Apart from that, through that he was able to go for some leadership thing in America, alafu also another one in Belgium. So he was, in quotes, living the life, najua. So I can never blame him for that, but to each his own, and everyone is allowed to have their opinion. But sasa wacha tuende to what he'd written, and this is part of his many attacks on Sifuna, which I don't understand. Like, why does he feel this need to go after Sifuna? So commentika, Nairobi city is suffering a profound and catastrophic collapse of leadership. The gulf between City Hall and the people has widened into a canyon so vast it may as well be a border. Every sunrise confronts us with humiliations that should never plague a capital city whose economy rivals the GDP of 37 countries. Sewage flowing through our cities, drainage that collapses under the slightest drizzle, green spaces captured and converted into private fiefdoms, and an artificial politicized water scarcity engineered by cartels thriving under the watch of an indifferent government. Nairobi is bleeding, not from misfortune, but from the outright failure of those elected and paid to defend it. Then ikaendelea. What is even more alarming is the casual manner in which accountability is dismissed in Africa's largest financial and cultural hub, East Africa's that is. Nairobi deserves a government that respects oversight, yet the county leadership treats transparency as an optional favor rather than a constitutional duty. When the impeachment motion against the governor was withdrawn, residents expected renewed commitment to service delivery. Instead, we were fed crumbs of cosmetic gentrification, while the real work, the work that actually affects daily life, remains largely untouched. Accountability has been sacrificed yet again at the altar of clickbait politics. Damn! Uboy kawa kuna kitu moja ile lazima tubaki tumempatia credit for kizungu. Aena kuwaga na kizungu jo. So, a quick recap. So what has he talked about? Of course, Nairobi city, nasikiaga hizi sifa zote za GDP ya Nairobi, it's bigger than which African economies, which okay, I respect that. But it's interesting also to see him talking about like sewage flowing through the city. This is just one of those things that I don't understand. Plus, kama hii area naishi, there is a certain sewage that has just been burst, and it's been like that for the past, I'd say even 1 month, and nothing is being done about it. And it shows you a certain level of third world asari that I don't even know how to explain. Like, for over a month. And this is a so-called middle-class neighborhood, and then there's a sewage place in Kashonde, and not very far from your place, I think I see some restaurants there. I don't want to know the people who eat in that restaurant, like what sort of air do they breathe when they're eating, how much do they eat. So that's a whole other story. But yes, akaendelea kasema today's events at the Senate is the latest example. A disconcerting clip shows our senator given a perfect opportunity to hold Nairobi accountable in the Senate Devolution Committee walk out mid-session, egged on by the senator of Kisii in an act as so poorly choreographed it resembled absurd theater rather than oversight. This is not leadership, it's reckless performance at the expense of a city crying out for serious governance. Nairobi is a 4 trillion shilling economy. It deserves dignity, it deserves competence, and above all, it deserves leaders who stay in the room, ask the hard questions, demand real answers, and defend the interests of the people with the seriousness the moment demands. Lazima you work. So, kile nashindwa, like, what I'd want to know, like, what's the end game with this? Because I feel like Kasmuel has a lot of people that he can be fighting. Why concentrate so much on Sifuna? Because I've seen Izima attacks that he has on Sifuna. This is one of the things maybe I'd want to have with him, like this conversation with him. Another thing, I think maybe the opportunity to announce, but yes, to try to upgrade in quotes studio equipment, especially for live shows, so that we want from the year 2026, we want to do live shows where some of the guests are live, especially when it's political topics. So that would be an interesting one, to have Kasmuel live and have Wewe as the viewer ask him questions and maybe call him a sellout and see how he defends himself and if he's a sellout or not. So yes, that's something that I'm thinking of in 2026. So still working on that. Yes, you need a certain level of equipment to be able to do it and itoke vizuri, isitoke kama inafanywa na nyanya ya mtu. So that's one of the things. But yes, I'd want to know like why does he target Sifuna that much? Sometimes it feels like it's sponsored, and I don't know, because the Kasmuel that I know, do I think he's the sort of guy to be sponsored? I don't think so. Hii pia rayazda kosana mimi nikisema, but I always feel like he's principled in his own way. People might not agree with him, but he looks out for himself, which is a good thing. You always have to look out for your own interests. Ekonene, nimeinterrupt show kukuremind you Lemfi. Kama uko US ama Canada na unataka kutuma do Kenya, register kwa Lemfi ukitumia promo code Ekonene. Hii itakuguarantee $20 cashback on your first $100 transaction. Alafu pia time una register, make sure umetick the 2 checkboxes za notifications ndio ukireceive info about amazing offers through newsletters. Na pia usijali, Lemfi hawatumagi hizi letters za, yani unajua like messages za kipumbavu. Pia usisahau, every time una transact $50 and above una earn points. Na the more una transact, the more points you earn and you can redeem them as cash ile time unatuma pesa. Alafu pia kitu nanibamba kabisa ni saizi ukitumia Lemfi mzabaki umelipa pay bills na till numbers directly. That means mzabaki umehandle bills za maparo wako ukiwa hizo maside za States ama maside za Canada. Alafu pia we mwenyewe as a Lemfi user baki umetafuta ile button imeandikwa get USD $20, ubaki umeinvite mabeste zako, na ukiinvite mabeste zako on their first $100 transaction unapata pesa ngapi? $20 cashback. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, ingia Lemfi. Lemfi, international payments for everyone. Ekonene. And yeah, but tukitoka hapo damn, kuna clip moja nilikuwa nimesahau ya Ruto. Kuna place Ruto alikuwa na drive through. I don't know which neighborhood this was, and damn, this neighborhood is filthy. And I think it's in Nairobi also. And people ended up joking about roads. Wacha tuicheck.
Hawezi muona. Na huyo ako pande hii kwanza. Wewe mwambie kwenda huko. Ndio huyu. Mwambie.
Mecheki hiyo barabara bana. So nataka kujua like which neighborhood was that and why did he feel so but tukitoka hapo, let's go to the Odinga family. And the Odinga family is having a really rough time this year because just yesterday ilikuwa announced that sister Raila naitwa Beryl alibakia mededi. Alafu this of course comes barely a month after brother kia dedi. Najua just over a month after brother kia dedi would be how much? Let's say that's maybe 1 month and 10 days. Wacha tusikize.
Na tukigeukia tanzia ni kwamba familia ya Odinga inaomboleza tena kufuatia kifo cha Beryl Achieng Odinga ambaye ni mwanawe marehemu Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Beryl aliyeishi maisha ya kimya kimya ameripotiwa kufariki baada ya kuugua na kulazwa katika hospitali ya Nairobi kwa matibabu. Beryl amefariki mwezi mmoja tu baada ya kifo cha nduguye mkubwa Raila Odinga mwezi uliopita. Kwenye tangazo la kifo chake, familia yake imeelezea huzuni na pengo kubwa lililoacha Beryl katika maisha yao.
So yes, so ni Beryl alidedi. Alafu of course this comes straight after the rumors that Oburu Odinga's situation had gotten worse also, and Oburu had to be taken to hospital. Of course history ya Oburu imekuwa dismissed, and but yes, I remember there is even someone who shared a photo of Oburu wakiwa na Raila, and these guys are in their 80s and they look much older than Gina Kenyatta, who's in her 90s. And for Raila is justified, maybe the beatings and the what, they eventually catch up with your body. But for Oburu, Oburu also looked more strong. So I don't know whether to believe the rumor that he's actually sick and yuko kwa hali mahututi, because that would be weird. Like for them to lose all those people in such a short time would be, I don't know even how to take it. So yes, and yeah, but last week truly have a very interesting interview, and the interview was with Dennis Onsarigo, and one of the things that I asked him about was about his stint at Nyamira County. So what happens? Kulikuwa na headline jana, impeached Nyamira Governor Amos Nyaribo, impeached after 23 out of 31 MCAs voted in favor. And this reminded me of your conversation to have na Onsarigo, because Onsarigo alikuwa na describe how the relationship between them was maybe somehow non-existent. Why? Because he'd go to the office and there was nothing to do, and he felt like a certain level of disrespect where you feel like there's something I can contribute, but then you're never given that chance to contribute. So I don't know how to feel like after that short description ile Onsarigo alitupea. I'm actually not surprised that MCAs felt like they needed to get rid of this guy, because sometimes how, for example, you treat your chief of staff says a lot about you. So say Onsarigo alikuwa anasema vile like nani alikuwa anataka ni kama akuje kwa ofisi tu abaki amekunywa chai alafu ameenda home, and for him he found that to be super hard. Unajua, like if you want to work, alafu someone just wants you to come, show up, have some tea and then go home, utashindwa like what's going on here? I mean, I need to work. So wacha tusikize ili kwa hiyo interview ya Onsarigo. Make sure you check it out.
My stint in Nyamira was very interesting. I come from Nyamira County.
Yes, okay.
And when we lost in 2022, it was Mzee who said, let me see where I can take you. Because now it was shocking. We didn't expect to lose that election. So it threw us off balance. Kila mtu, it was crazy times. Even for Mzee's people.
You vile umesema tutakutafuta siku ingine, we have to.
Yeah, you have to look for me.
Yes, we need to go through your
exactly.
journey.
So nikakutana na governor wa Nyamira County, who I respect. I respected him during my time as chief of staff of Nyamira County. But now you're a chief of staff, you have 100 people under you, but the best you can do is take tea in the office. You don't attend meetings, okay? And then someone has the audacity of telling you you're not working.
Damn. Achiki. So, hapa kiendelea utachiki vile Onsarigo anasema he just ended up resigning because he felt like it was not worth it. And yeah, from this description, I felt like I knew this governor. Na niko na feel kama Onsarigo was being political. Otherwise, that governor was a POS, piece of shh. Nacheki. And I'm not surprised that hao manini wameamua kumimpeach, because unajua this sort of kudharau watu, it ends up trickling down, and the other people can see it, and the other people can react, and they end up reacting in the way where they feel. Because hao manini wachekagi na mtu, the so-called what can I call them, like the so-called MCAs. Yeah. And the only way to save yourself from MCAs is either be very good at your job, be good at your job, be corrupt. And yes, but at least even if it's not be corrupt, then treat them with respect. But vile na cheki ni kama alikama kakuwa na kiburi fulani, alafu story yake ikaenda vile ilienda. But yes, another good morning. So iko nene.